Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cohen back here again today with another video. Still in the hotel room. Got about 4 days left on the trip that I'm on, so I will be back in my usual setup in about 4 days. But for right now, I want to keep talking about free agency. I've been putting up a lot of videos recently, and thank you guys so much for the support on them. But the team that I probably want to talk about most through all of this free agency stuff is the Miami Heat. The Heat a couple seasons ago went to the NBA Finals in what was a run that shocked pretty much the entire NBA. Nobody thought they were really going to get all the way there. I don't even know if Heat fans thought they had a chance of making it all the way to the finals. So, going into the finals, they were just kind of outmatched against the Lakers. They suffered some injuries, and last season got swept in the first round. It was not at all the encore that they were looking for, and it was against the team that they had just beaten in the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think when that happened, Pat Riley took a look at his team and was like, this is not good enough. We need to get better. We have to find a way to improve because we're falling behind. The rest of the Eastern Conference improved drastically last season. The Sixers we saw got better just from player development and from Daryl Morey putting better pieces to complement his star player in Joel Embiid. They became the 1 seed. The Milwaukee Bucks got better, adding Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, who the Heat have now added themselves. The Nets, of course, got better, bringing in a healthy Kyrie and Kevin Durant alongside James Harden. The East continues to get better. And so last season, the Heat just didn't keep pace, to be honest. So, this offseason, Pat Riley went into it and said, I'm not going to fall behind anymore. We need to capitalize on what we showed we were capable of and make a run back at the finals. And what he has done has been an incredible offseason. Probably the biggest move that they made was bringing in Kyle Lowry, trading him for, a lot of people thought in the middle of the season that to trade for Kyle Lowry, the Heat would have to give up Duncan Robinson or Tyler Herro. So that was kind of the path that they were looking at, and they didn't want to give up those guys because obviously Duncan Robinson is a super important piece to this team, a team that doesn't have a ton of shooters on it. To have a guy like him who is a historically good shooter, it makes sense, and he's just a really good fit. He came up in the organization. That's where he wants to be. That's where they want him. So it did make sense for them to try and trade Duncan, and credit to them, they stayed pat, especially on the Tyler Herro thing. Because Herro's been a guy that everyone has kept saying, for them to pick up another star and to get better, they've got to trade Tyler Herro. But they successfully made this team so much better without giving up Tyler Herro. They brought in Kyle Lowry for, I think it's Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic. I can't remember if those details are finalized. I don't think they are. But if that's all it took, that's a steal for the Miami Heat to bring in a guy like Kyle Lowry, who's been on a championship team. He's a stud, and he is the perfect point guard for this team. He fits the Heat identity of they're a good defensive team. He's a solid defender, a great playmaker, and I think he's going to unlock the game for the rest of the players on this roster. There is one guy in particular that I think is going to have an incredible season and is the key to this team becoming the title contender that I think they're going to be next season. That man is Bam Adebayo. I'll go through the rest of the roster first and then we'll get to Bam, but just know, I personally think Bam is the key to them winning a championship. At the 2 guard spot, they brought back Duncan Robinson. Like I said, he was super important to this team on the finals run, and Duncan is just great. Kyle Lowry is going to set him up with more opportunities. This is the first time they've had like a really good point guard. Dragic and Nunn have both had their moments, especially in the 2020 playoffs. Dragic was a beast, and I have to give him that credit, but he's not Kyle Lowry. Lowry's a championship level guy. He's going to play defense, be an elite playmaker, hit tough shots. Lowry is everything that this Heat team needed at the point guard position. He is a perfect fit for them outside of like, you know, a young star or like a Steph Curry or something like that. Kyle Lowry fit this team perfectly and fit it in a way that they didn't have to give up any big pieces to bring him in. Next to Duncan Robinson, you have Jimmy Butler. Of course, he was the star of their 2020 finals run, and we know how good Jimmy is. Jimmy's really good. Great defensive player. He can score the ball. Never been a fantastic shooter from the outside, but he's a solid playmaker. He's tough. He's physical, and he gets things done. He fits the Heat personality, the Heat culture, I guess is what you can call it. We know what Jimmy does. At the 4, bringing in PJ Tucker, a great defensive player, a guy that just won a championship being part of the Milwaukee Bucks. He's not going to score a lot, but he's going to play great defense. He's going to lock up, and that further fits. And the Heat, all like pretty much every single position, have a lockdown defender of some kind. Behind Duncan Robinson, you have Victor Oladipo, who I think could be a great 6-man. I would personally start Duncan Robinson, or maybe you could try and fit in Duncan and Victor Oladipo if you really wanted to. If you put Depot at the 3, of course, he's not going to start the season healthy. But when he does get healthy, if you want to put him at the 3 and Jimmy at the 4, maybe you try and do something there. But I think for right now, that's going to be the starting lineup. It's going to be Kyle Lowry. You have Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, and PJ Tucker alongside Bam Adebayo. And if you have Victor Oladipo, if he's able to get healthy and play even close to what he was in Indiana, you have another all-star just on your bench who's already a good defender, even if he doesn't get his offensive consistency back. That's incredible. The way that Pat Riley was able to build this team together without giving up any great pieces, he did such a good job, because you still have Tyler Herro there on the bench, who, despite having kind of a down season from what people expected him to have, he's still a good player. He's one of those guys that's very memeable, a la a Kyle Kuzma, but the similarity between those two is while they're memed, they're both good players. So, having a guy like Tyler Herro who's young and continues to get better, or has the potential to continue to get better, he's shown his potential as a solid shooter, he can be a solid playmaker. Having that come off the bench alongside Victor Oladipo is big for them. Bringing back Dwayne Dedmon, who showed a lot of promise. He's a solid shot blocking, rim protecting defensive big. He can step out and stretch the floor if they need him to as well. That's big for Dwayne Dedmon and for the Miami Heat to have him there next to Bam Adebayo, giving them an option to add a stretch big into the lineup if Bam doesn't become that. But speaking of Bam, like I said, the key to this team and for them to win a title is Bam Adebayo. Why is that the case? Because like I said, with all of these guys in their starting lineup, we know what we're going to get. We just don't quite know how they're going to fit together, which the answer for me is I think they're going to fit together phenomenally. I think this is a very well put together roster. But Bam is young, and Bam just keeps getting better. And what I mentioned with Kyle Lowry is that he is a great playmaker, and the Heat haven't had a point guard like Kyle Lowry with Bam Adebayo in town. I think bringing in Kyle Lowry is going to unlock Bam Adebayo's game in completely new ways. He's already a defensive player of the year caliber guy, or I think he's going to be next season at least. He's going to block shots. He's going to step out to the perimeter. He's 6'9", and he can guard pretty much 1 through 5. He's not quite quick enough maybe to stay with some elite point guards, but at least he's going to get a contest on the shot. We've seen what Bam can do. You saw him block the hell out of Jason Tatum in an Eastern Conference Finals game. He has shown he can step up on the big stage. We know how good he is defensively. But if he unlocks that offensive game, the Heat have a legitimate shot to win this NBA title. They've got a great roster. Jimmy Butler's a stud. They just need one more piece. And Bam is that guy. He already is really good, but I think with the playmaking of Kyle Lowry, who's going to get him so many open lob opportunities, get him so many touches on the block, get him so many touches down low on cuts, he has more gravity than previous point guards have had. And so if Bam is able to be in the right spot, it's going to be crazy. I think the synergy is amazing there. And not only that, but all of last season, Bam continued to show his ability to step out more and more. He shot some mid-ranges. His mid-range game looks pretty smooth. It looks pretty fluid. He's got a decent mid-range shot. We know he can attack the basket. Bam is good offensively, but if somehow he manages to step out even further, if Bam can shoot just a couple threes this season, if he can become a better shooter, that's phenomenal. That's the key in my opinion. If Bam can be a good offensive player, Bam is going to be an all-star this season, and he's going to be an all-NBA player level this season if he is able to get that offensive consistency down. And I think, like I said, a big key to that is having a great point guard. We have seen so many bigs in the past get completely unlocked because they've had a good point guard. Chris Paul got DeAndre Jordan an all-NBA first-team spot. That's how much it means to bigs to have a great point guard. That's what's going to happen here with Bam Adebayo. Bam is going to have the best, and record this or clip this if you want to, Bam Adebayo is going to have the best season of his NBA career and be an all-NBA guy alongside a defensive player of the year contender, I guess is the word you want to go with. The Heat are going to be a phenomenal team, and no team in the NBA is going to want a part of them in the playoffs. Brooklyn is phenomenal. Brooklyn, I think, is right now the favorite to win the East, if I had to pick a team today. But this Heat team's really good as well. They have the defensive stoppers to try and lock up the big three. Now, can you truly lock up Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden? No, you can't. And they're just a great team all around. They've added some better pieces. But if there's they're the best team, best equipped team defensively to stop those guys. And that's important. You have to slow them before you try and beat them. If you can't slow them, you don't stand a chance. So, to wrap this up, the Miami Heat are title contenders. In 2020, I didn't expect the run. I didn't. I'm not going to be caught off guard again. This Miami Heat team is going to make a run, and they have a shot to win the finals. I know about Brooklyn. I know about Milwaukee. I know about all those other teams in the East, Philly, whoever you want to say. I get it. They're really good. But this Heat team is special. They've got guys at every single position. I didn't even mention Markieff Morris. Shout out Markieff Morris. They're crazy good. And not only that, but this is a team that has played together for a couple of seasons, and I think Kyle Lowry is a guy that's just going to gel seamlessly. It's going to get scary in Miami very fast. And if Tyler Herro continues to develop, if Bam Adebayo develops the way that I think he's going to, I think he's the key. And you know the craziest part about this Heat offseason is the Miami Heat are a polarizing team. A lot of people just don't like the Miami Heat. And so, typically, what you would see is people trashing their offseason for a team that people don't like. Like, for example, for the Lakers have had a great offseason. They've brought in a lot of good pieces. They put shooters around Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. But there are still people trashing them because they don't like the Lakers. People don't hate the Heat as much as they don't like the Lakers, but, they don't like the Heat that much. And yet, you don't see anyone trashing the Heat's offseason. Nobody. The only thing people are saying is they're screwed for the future, which I think is just the case. Like you have Bam, you have Tyler Herro, you've got some decent young pieces. It's just the case of the money. Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler are going to be making a ton of money when they start to get pretty old and start to decline. And that's just what you have to do to try and contend in the modern NBA. You have to lock up your stars. And for a team that made it to the finals a couple seasons ago, it makes sense. It makes sense to lock up a lot of money in those guys. But outside of people saying that they're screwed like financially in like 3 years, which at that point doesn't matter if you win a title, nobody's saying anything. My guy Nick, Motown No, you know him on YouTube probably. He hates the Heat. He hates Jimmy Butler. He doesn't hide that at all. And even he has said that the Heat looks scary. That's how you know how good this Miami Heat team is. Don't be surprised when they make a run to win the East. Don't be surprised at all. You heard it here first. Let me know what you thought about the Heat's offseason. Let me know if you agree with me about how important Bam Adebayo is. I think this is his year. I think Bam Adebayo breaks out and becomes a household name this year. Like I said, All-NBA, All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year finalist. I think this is a big year for him. All-defensive team. And that'd be such an incredible year for a guy in Bam Adebayo. So let me know what you think about this team. If I had to predict the seeding spot for them right now, maybe like second or third in the Eastern Conference, if I had to guess. Maybe just partially because I think Brooklyn is a team that could rest some guys, or guys are probably going to miss time the way that Brooklyn has missed time this past season. So I think they could be a 2 or 3 seed, maybe even a 1 if teams just rest a little bit. Of course, like I mentioned, Milwaukee and Philly are also up there, but Miami's terrifying. And Pat Riley has done a phenomenal job of setting up the Heat to be alongside those top tier teams in the East. They fell behind last year. They might have just caught up. Appreciate you guys watching this video. Let me know what you thought of the Heat's offseason. I'll see you guys later. Real one, say it back.